On this Good Friday, there are many congregations that walk or experience what's called the Stations of the Cross. 14 different scriptural stations that walk through the death of our Savior Jesus. While we will not be going through all 14 stations, we have taken 3 different stations from a resource to ponder and meditate and spend time with on this Good Friday. Thank you for joining us, and we are especially thankful for Illustrated Ministry and this beautiful resource. Join us now. Then Jesus went with them to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to his disciples, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." He took with him Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee and began to be grieved and agitated. Then he said to them, "I am deeply grieved, even to death. Remain here and stay awake with me." And going a little farther, he threw himself on the ground and prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me, yet not what I want, but what you want." Then he came to the disciples and found them sleeping. And he said to Peter, "So could you not stay awake with me 1 hour? Stay awake and pray that you may not come into the time of trial. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak." As we begin this journey and remember the disciples who came with Jesus to the garden, remember also those people who have accompanied you during your hardest times. Maybe, like the disciples who were present with Jesus, the people you'll remember were also struggling. Maybe, like the disciples, they faced their own sorrow or couldn't completely enter into yours, but still came alongside you. Call to mind the face of a person who has been present with you in difficulty or sorrow. Picture that face before you. Hold your focus for a moment and say thank you. When they came to the place that is called the Skull, they crucified Jesus there with the criminals, one on his right and one on his left. Then Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." And they cast lots to divide his clothing. Holy One, for where I have caused harm on my own, I ask you to forgive me. It is sometimes true of me, like it was true of those in the story. I do not know what I do. And Holy One, for where I have caused harm together with others, I ask you to forgive us. And help me forgive. It is sometimes true of us, like it was true of those in the story. We do not know what we do. And Holy One, for where others have caused harm, I ask you to forgive them and to help me do the same. It is sometimes true of them, like it was true of those in the story. They do not know what they do. It was now about noon, and darkness came over the whole land until 3 in the afternoon, while the sun's light failed and the curtain of the temple was torn in 2. Then Jesus, crying with a loud voice, said, "Father, into your hands I commend my spirit." Having said this, he breathed his last. Darkness fell over the land like a covering, like the curtain in the temple was a covering. In the hardest times, like when Jesus is on the cross, and in the most sacred spaces, like the Holy of Holies in the temple, reality is sometimes obscured. Clarity is sometimes sacrificed. Darkness makes space for the unknown, and sometimes beautiful, sometimes terrible allowance. When the temple curtain is torn, when that covering rips in two, the notion that God could be contained there was challenged. The holy space the curtain had concealed, had kept in darkness, was suddenly revealed. We can never build anything in our structures or our hearts that keeps God from reaching us.